Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Marshall Lee of DonkeyJawProjects.com, and today is day number 39 of 100 Days of Making Comics.
Donkey Jaw Projects!
Getting there. So today I worked on my lettering for about an hour-ish. There were some delays, but yeah. Throughout all the process, I think I got in about an hour worth. I finished off the page I was working on that took a long time, had a lot of dialogue, and I finished the basics of the next page. Got all the lettering in and all the balloons in. Now I just got to go in and adjust it, put in the tails, make it look all nice and stuff like that. But that one probably would be done tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised. And then off to page 5. So definitely getting there on lizard brain pages, lettering wise. I'm noticing as I'm doing the lettering that I'm noticing all these little details of where I messed up a little bit on the gray tones, and they're all like kind of easy fixes, but I kind of wonder, I don't know, some might think I'm lazy, but I almost I like it because it reminds me of like old comics where there's always these like little details that get missed sometimes, and you can see it, and I don't know, I kind of like that. So I don't know, maybe I'll leave some of these details, that I missed in, but I have a feeling that people will think, oh, he's just a hack, because they won't think of it as like the retro throwback thing. So I don't know, sorry, a little sniffly there, I guess. Did my hand drawings, and yeah, that's about it. But I want to show you some cool stuff. I was going through some old art the other day, and I found a bunch of comic-y type of stuff that I've done in the past, anywhere from 6th grade to somewhere around high school era. There's even a few things thrown in from recent years too, but and maybe my 20s and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I figured it might be kind of fun to go through some of that stuff with you guys, so check it out. Alright, so here we go. Now bear in mind, the stuff that was kind of in my head during this time, it was, my dad had Superman comics and stuff that he let me check out when I went over, old ones. And then also I ended up getting into, I started with X-Force 1 and started really getting into comics after that. Rob Liefeld, Todd, McFarlane, Whilce, Portacio were probably, and Sam Keith were probably my main people I was interested in and influenced. I always said that Whilce Portacio was my favorite artist for a long time, but I like them all. And then Eric Larson and all the Image guys, really. Sam Keith was a big one for sure. But so here we go. Let me see if I can bring it a little bit closer. So this is, apparently it's Illusion, and this was done in 1993. This is kind of an amalgamation of many characters. Like, there's this whole character Twilight that I've played around with for years, and who knows, maybe eventually I'll bring him to light and be more of a thing, but this was kind of a version of that, and it turned into this. I don't know why his sword is smoking and has blood on it. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. This is really early, 11 years old. Captain Topaz. Another early one, same time, Gemini Man. I love all these, I would always just create all these characters, and it was super fun, just to try to, I don't know, be imaginative. Me trying to do a splash page, creating characters as I go, not getting very far. This is how I drew women back then. It was, well, no, actually it isn't. That looks like very much a copy of something else. Probably just changed hair color and outfit a little bit. Another thing, just you'll see more, sometimes inventing machinery or swords or languages, and I don't know what this was, but made a sword with spikes on the end of it. Eventually I heard that you have to draw really big, so you can see this is a pretty big drawing. This was right before freshman year of high school. I know because where I was living at the time I remember drawing this. And I'm copying a lot of people's line work, rendering, not knowing why, like, why is that shadow there? That should be, it's just me doing cross-hatching because I want to do cross-hatching. Like, that makes sense, but I was probably copying from something, or maybe I did sometimes think of light source. The reflectiveness on this one's kind of cool. But yeah, this was straight from imagination, me trying to draw a woman. You can see she's got that womanly square jaw. And this is not derivative of Max at all. Oh, here he comes again, another one. Puma, his name was apparently, and Sonic. This is very derivative of an Eric Larson, I think, drawing. I made it way less cool. And Overkill came out for Todd McFarlane, one of his characters, and so I did Undertow. I don't know. What are these? I don't know. You could see like all these little dots and details and stuff. I'm definitely, trying to do McFarlane stuff. This is kind of a character I played around with a long time. This is graffiti. My brother's name's Stu in graffiti. Really badly done. But I always kept this piece because it looked like, to me, it looked like the closest thing I ever came to real coloring that you would see in like a comic or some kind of, I don't know, art piece. So I thought it was cool. Very rarely did I ever do anything as simplified as that with a face, but it worked out for this and it was cool. This was definitely an era of me messing around with graffiti more. I don't know, I kind of like this piece. And I always played around with a character with like this kind of afro, kind of like my glyph character, and like wings and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, kind of cool. Early attempt at drawing sequentials, just coming up with the story as I go, and characters and everything, not doing any preliminary thumbnails or writing, because I figured I'm not a writer. At that point, I didn't think that I could be a writer. Not derivative of Cable at all, because look, he's got a ponytail, so Cable doesn't have a ponytail. Always did, these kind of figure studies. This must have been a little later because some of these details are pretty decent. Those hands are really small. But yeah, always drawn muscly guys. This is definitely influenced by Alita, Battle Angel Alita. She had this whole part in some of her comics where they had like this roller derby type of game with like, I don't know, they just rode around in a race type of thing, but they had like weapons and I don't know. I always thought it was cool, so that was my attempt of creating something that would work in that universe. I don't know what this is, just some random splash page, me trying to be original, of somebody going through a portal and a magic duck or something. I don't know. And then the epic adventures of Roadkill. Yes, the ideas were amazing. This was kind of a cool idea. And me always trying to do something different, so like, the Marvel Comics thing, this is my version. It's actually a bullet going up into the sky and, kind of cool. Sheriff, I think that was a rap name I went by for a while. Weird old rap name. Again, I see a lot of derivativeness from Sam Keith with this kind of stuff, and then Whilce Portacio here with Wetworks and stuff like that. Some crazy character. more figure study type things, drawing muscly guys. I don't know why I didn't draw women more. I don't know if I copied this. I think I created this one out of my head, but you know, these Wildcats characters, me trying to draw a cool scene with them fighting. I feel like this one was actually me designing something a friend of mine told me about, of one of his ideas. And yeah, wonderful, right? Here is later, like in my 20s, I think. I'm not sure exactly when, but I tried to come up with like a story as I went, like through my sketchbook, and I don't know. It was, again, making up characters as I go. This is kind of a cool scene, though, right? I think. And this was when my friend Todd Webb was telling me about mini comics. It was the first time I ever heard of a mini comic or anything. This is thumbnails for something you'll see soon. I have a character Quag that I actually did a bunch of like kind of strip type things, comics for at my Air National Guard base with my buddy Tony. He wrote it, I drew it. This one's kind of cool character. Again, very derivative of the comics I was reading. This is pretty early on. I don't know what age I was at, but you know, I literally copying, you know, Jim Lee X-Men stuff. Not doing too great at it, but another very early on one, creating a character Slingshot. Who knows? Definitely X-Force type thing. I don't know if you guys remember early on in the Savage Dragon run, Eric Larson asked for submissions for an original character that he would use as an enemy of Savage Dragon in one of his comics, and we could still own we would still own the character even though it was in his comic and stuff like that. And this was my first attempt, and that's as far as I got, really. Called him Sting. Oh, the alarm's going off. Here's Twilight. This is like not that long ago, like 5 years ago or something, a very simplified version of the character Twilight that actually, interestingly, it says 2010, so, well, it was 8 years ago, but, and this was, I think this was for 30 characters in 30 days, I don't know, might not have been, I'm not sure, but, this was, when they did the the art and story guys did and Kevin Cross did the art mini comic Stump Truck, I was gonna do this character for it. I planned to. I was writing for it, trying to do it, and then eventually I just went over to Glyph because it was something that I was more familiar with and it just seemed easier. So Glyph would have never happened if I went, well, maybe it would have never happened if I didn't decide to not do Twilight. Here's that Quag character. There's going to be a bunch of these. This is me attempting to do, you know, actual comic strip type things. Again, my buddy Tony wrote it and I illustrated it. I created the character. He liked it and he wanted me to put it in the newsletter because he did the newsletter. This is, you know, a nicer color version. He was a deaf character with huge ears and his feet were that, which I don't know. Here's another one, kind of graffiti-esque Von Baudet style version of him. Here we go back to me trying to draw comics. This does not look like Predator at all. Lots of reflective-y, metal-y stuff. Awesome, right? Another Max character that's, you know, not derivative at all. another version of Twilight. This was done in high school. It was, you can see it was taped onto a high school book. You know, you know how you had like the book covers you had to make. I always had this idea of using a character that had boomerangs. I don't know why. I've never seen it done yet. Maybe it has been done. But yeah, that's one iteration of the character. Oh, here's me trying to make an actual comic page of the character in a whole different version. Again, creating everything as I go, like just kind of mapping it out maybe in my head. And let's see, somewhere in the stealth galaxy, an arrow showing you where to look next. Transporter is working well. I think he just zapped over there. Now got to find my sister. Alright, plot's thickening. I bet this guy knows where Creon is. Creon, who's Creon? I don't know, but this guy might know. And he's flying through the hallway instead of walking, so that works, you know. He better know if he wants to live. Ooh, dangerous. So this guy is just gonna kill anybody until he finds his way. Oh, there's an arrow pointing that way. Good to know where to go next. Probably did, because this paneling is not really good. Alright. Me trying to draw really big again and creating a character kind of on the spot. Notice the boomerangs. And a gun. Because, you know, if your boomerangs don't work, use a gun. Oh, his name is Death Row, apparently. Here's a little splash page of Roadkill, hanging out in the water, fighting some sharks. Don't know who this is, but she's cool, right? I cut out all these characters and put them, I think, on this big paper to put on my wall. Just things I created. Here's me trying to create a language, or alphabet. More Quag stuff. This was turned into a t-shirt. Actually, just one t-shirt that my wife has still. This is a very early drawing of me trying to draw Spider-Man, probably copying McFarlane or something. This guy's saying, I think that's Cloak and Dagger Cloak. Just hang in there, bubs. Why is he upside down? Early attempts at graffiti. Fun. Robot-y type character that also kind of looks like the dude from Addams Family. Can't think of his name all of a sudden. Or maybe, what's his name from Austin Powers, Dr. Evil. Alright, here's a very early one. I was probably like 9 or something, or 7 or something like that when I did this, and you know, I'm like creating, this is like more of an attempt to create a character than like my later stuff. He's got a name, he's got a vehicle, known for good spy, swift and quick maneuvering. He's from the planet Stretch, the sun Krypton. Very skilled, but also wisecracking dude. Oops. Just another weird attempt at creating something. I'll try to go through some of these fast that are just stupid little things, but another character I tried to create. Point blank, you don't want to run into him in a dark alley. Quag. More of a full strip thing. Kind of cool. This was straight up drawing Max. I think this was my own attempt, but maybe it was a copy. I don't know. Here we go. This is like, to me, this was like me trying my hardest to draw awesome characters doing awesome things. 1994. Signed Rook and Marshall. Mohawk and Buzzcut. Now there's a team for you. Again, my friend with the mini comics, he did like daily comics sometimes, and he put them on his website, Todd Webb. Really cool dude. And this was me attempting to do that kind of thing, just a, you know, life in the day in the life. Oh, this is pretty cool because he's like, we're like in like a internet cafe type thing, and I'm like, cool, and then everybody's looking at me, what? And then I'm like, they're all turning and looking or something, and then my friend comes over and says, cool, man. Oh, and then I say, my friend drew me in a comic, and then he says, cool, man. So that happened because my friend Todd Webb, who I was inspired to do this, actually drew me in a couple of his daily comics, and that was fun. Can't believe I beat 2 people in pool. Yay. That's about as far as that ever went. Speaking about Kevin Cross, y'all don't even know, man. This is 2010. So this was some fan art of his characters, and this was his, you know, he says Monkey Mod and Friends show, and if I believe correctly, it was originally supposed to be like kind of a team of people, and these were some of his other characters. Me not drawing them quite as cool as him, for sure, but these were some of his characters that were supposed to be in Monkey Mod originally, before he even started this comic he's been working on. Y'all don't even know. But yeah, that's some fan art I did a while back. 2010. Here we go, another character I created. Definitely looks derivative of Manhunter, I think. Which I didn't realize, but that comic was actually inked by Sam Keith, and now that I look at it, I could tell, and that's probably why I really liked it and didn't realize it. This was a character I think my friend came up with, but we were working on comics together, and this is my attempt at drawing him. Back in high school. Some more high school-y things. A guy with discs for weapons. It's kind of cool. I always tried to draw these characters too, like with 2 shields like this, kind of like Captain America but with 2 shields, and that was his main thing. I don't know, I still think that could be cool. Liquid metal chick. Very I remember I used to have this thing, it was like this weird like toy airbrush thing, and I always wanted to use an airbrush, but that's all I had, so I did a little masking and tried to create a cool effect for this page I was coming up with on the fly and never finished. Remember that you could submit stuff for Wizard Magazine? Here we go. Here's one of my tries and never sending in things. I remember drawing like the grass and like the bubbles and all these like little details. They actually look better than the actual focal points, right? I don't know, man. Just trying to do my thing. Another one of Twilight and some other weird character. More muscle guys. Muscle guys with 2 shields. Girl face. Don't know what this is, but looks very manga, which is weird because I wasn't into manga. Another character. This one reminds me of Sarah Connor, the face. I don't know. She's got a knife on the inside of her thigh. Look at those proportions. Maybe drawing Angela or Angel, whatever her name is from Spawn, and the horse. Probably my first and only attempt to draw a horse at that point in my time. People were really impressed by this drawing. It was a copy. This is one of my favorite characters ever, the Shatterstar from X-Force. I always just thought it was cool because you don't see comic characters with swords too often, not in the superhero genre. This was obviously on my English book. And people would be like, you draw that? No way. I don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, and it's not that great. Dynamite. Again, very derivative. Another version of Twilight holding a drawing triangle, apparently. And his arm is kind of glowing. Cool. Let's see. What else we got? Another interesting character. Me trying to draw a mecha face. Here's this dude again. Kind of doing a different version style. Sam Keith inspired, and I think something else I saw like in Wizard magazine made me want to draw this guy with big hooves and eyes and this big shield thing. I don't know. I remember being inspired to do it though. Oh, another attempt at Wizard magazine drawing. That's probably my best attempt. I probably should have sent it in. It's not very good, but especially with the markers, you know, the markers kind of look crappy. Alright, we're almost there, guys. Hopefully this is interesting. I think it's fun. This character, I actually kind of like these weird things he's got on his shoulders. I don't know. But it doesn't seem very practical. It looks kind of cool. Another copy of Shatterstar, one of my favorite characters. Put that one away. That. I think this was actually an original attempt at drawing Grifter from Wildcats. And it came out pretty good for that time. This character kind of crazy looking, kind of came out cool. Me trying to draw a very Spawn-like character that's not maybe actually Spawn, I don't know. But Violator's there. What? This character, he's got a cross and some really cool draping cape that doesn't seem to be shaped correctly. Here's another attempt at sequentials. Again, making up the story as I go. Hey, this looks similar to the other page I did. So he's hiding behind a wall. He comes out, ready to shoot. Bam, bam, bam. Totally copying some Rob Liefeld. Oh, and this is the last one, I guess. Here's probably one of my best iterations of the time when I was really young, of Twilight. Kind of think this came out cool. He's got like boxing gloves that smoke, and some boomerangs and a sword. Why not throw a sword in while you're at it? He looks like a boxer with, yeah, I don't know, kind of cool. And his body forms the T. Isn't that cool, man? Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that little romp through my old arts and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of what I made when I was a kid. Like, I have sketchbooks with stuff in it too, but I don't know. That's, you know, different ages and different influences. It's interesting that I could see all the influences in there and stuff, but I don't know. Pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's fun looking through all that old stuff. I'd love to see stuff you guys did, like when you were younger and stuff. Some of you are still younger. I'm 39. Anyways, so hopefully you dug this. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you tomorrow on day 40 of 100 Days of Making Comics. Thanks for watching. Peace out.